The morning light spilled softly across the chrome counter of a small diner on Maple and 3rd. Outside, buses hissed and footsteps echoed along damp pavements. Inside, the air smelled of coffee, toast, and lemon polish. The ceiling fan hummed above the quiet murmur of a radio playing some old tune. Claire wiped the counter again, even though it was spotless. 27, brown hair tied back, yellow uniform with a white collar, faded but clean. Her name tag glinted faintly in the sunlight. She glanced at the door just as the bell chimed. Mr. Hargrove stepped in, just as he did every morning. He was 78, slim, upright, in a gray wool coat and an old brown felt hat. His steps were slow but steady. "Good morning, Claire," he greeted, voice calm and warm. "Morning, Mr. Hargrove," she smiled. "Your usual table's ready." "You read my mind," he replied, settling into the booth by the window where sunlight pooled across the table. He hung his hat on the side and unfolded a newspaper from his coat. Claire poured his black coffee and set it down gently. "Anything new in the paper today?" "Just the same world pretending to surprise itself," he said, smiling faintly. She laughed softly. Their conversations were never long, but always gentle, like ripples across still water. There was something grounding about him, something quiet that steadied her. Before we continue, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps us bring you more heartfelt stories like this one. Over the weeks, their mornings became a ritual. She knew how he liked his toast, crisp, never burnt, and that he always left a neatly folded tip under the saucer. He told her little stories sometimes about a garden, a library, and a woman named Edith whose name trembled when he said it. Claire never asked. She recognized the sound of love that never faded. "Working too hard again?" he'd tease. "You're here before the sun and leave after the stars," she smiled. Someone's got to keep this place standing. Behind her lightness lived exhaustion, double shifts, unpaid bills, a sick father. The diner was her second home, but also her cage. Mr. Hargrove noticed things she didn't know he saw, the way she rubbed her wrists or how she saved her sandwich for later. He never asked, just left a kind word and that same folded tip. Then, one morning, he didn't come. The diner felt strange without him, like a chair missing from a table. Claire kept glancing at the clock. 8 passed, then 9. She poured his usual coffee anyway and left it steaming at his booth. By noon, it went cold. The next day, she did it again, and again the day after that. The booth stayed empty. A week passed. She stopped making his toast, but she still turned toward the door every time it chimed. The staff noticed, but no one said a word. Then, one Thursday morning, as she served the early crowd, the bell rang. She looked up, hope flashing, then froze. 4 men in black suits entered, their presence heavy and silent. Behind them came a man in his 50s, sharp navy suit, leather folder in hand. "Miss Claire Bennett?" he asked. "Yes," she replied cautiously. "I'm Charles Renner. I represent the estate of Mr. Henry Hargrove." The name struck like a wave. "Estate?" He nodded. "Mr. Hargrove passed away last week. He left this letter for you." The diner blurred around her. The chatter, the music, all fell away. She took the envelope slowly, her fingers trembling. "I don't understand," she murmured. "He said you would," the lawyer replied softly, before turning and leaving with the 4 guards, their steps echoing across the tiles. When the door closed, silence filled every corner. Claire looked down at the cream-colored envelope, her name written in careful handwriting. That evening, she sat at her small kitchen table. The same uniform clung to her shoulders, the city lights blinking outside her window. She opened the letter. "Dear Claire," it began, "if you're reading this, my mornings at the diner have come to an end. I want you to know those quiet hours we shared were the kindest part of my last few years. You made an old man feel seen in a world that had long stopped looking." Her breath caught. He continued, "I came to that diner because it reminded me of my wife, Edith. We used to have breakfast together every morning at a place just like yours. After she passed, I stopped going, until I saw you laughing with a customer one day, and for the first time in years, I wanted coffee again." Tears blurred her vision. "Your kindness, your patience, the way you always remembered small things, it gave me peace. You reminded me that kindness doesn't fade with time." At the bottom, written shakily, "I've left something for you." A small thank you for every cup you poured and every smile you gave. Below it, a law firm's name and number. Claire stared at the page, the words trembling in her hands. The city outside hummed softly. She didn't sob, she just sat there quietly, tears tracing slow paths down her cheeks. The next morning, she opened the diner early. She raised the blinds, let the sunlight spill across the floor, and poured 1 cup of black coffee. She placed it at his booth. No one sat there that morning, but everyone noticed. "Still keeping his spot?" asked Frank, the cook. "Some people deserve to stay," she said gently. Over the weeks, that booth became sacred. Customers left little notes. For kindness, for Mr. Hargrove, for mornings that matter. The untouched cup remained, a small act of remembrance. One afternoon, Charles Renner returned. No bodyguards this time, just an envelope. He smiled kindly. "Miss Bennett, Mr. Hargrove left this in his will. The paperwork's complete. The diner now belongs to you." Claire froze, staring at him. "To me?" "He said it was a place worth keeping alive, and that you were the only one who could." Tears welled in her eyes. Gratitude, disbelief, peace, all at once. She looked around. The diner, the warm light, the smell of toast, the hum of laughter. And for the first time in years, she felt she belonged. If this story has touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that remind us of the power of kindness. Years passed. The diner changed, fresh paint, new sign, but its soul stayed the same. Morning light still danced on the chrome, laughter still filled the air. On the wall by the window hung a small frame in memory of Henry Hargrove, for reminding us that kindness never grows old. Every morning, Claire poured 1 extra cup of coffee, set it by the window, let it steam quietly in the sunlight. When new customers asked who it was for, she always smiled. "For someone who taught me that small kindnesses can change a life." Then she'd walk away, sunlight catching the edge of her yellow uniform, her steps light and sure. Outside, the city stirred again. Bright, real, alive. The kind of morning Mr. Hargrove would have loved. Sometimes the smallest kindness becomes someone's greatest memory. And sometimes, the person you help ends up giving you back a whole new life.